Hi, hello. Okay, let's see if we can rebalance that a little bit. Yeah? Okay, that seems to be working. I think we're gonna leave the music pretty high, but hopefully nothing too dramatic. Whoop, sorry about the microphone noise. Yeah, okay, cool. So today, working on some art. However, I just realized my eyes are going to be horribly skewed off to the side because of the monitor it's focusing on. So, I'm gonna see if I can fix that. 2 ticks. All right. Hope everyone is having a lovely day so far. How do I change which screen this is looking at? Okay, so it's related to the mouse. Okay. Okay, I think I found the setting. However, I am not sure how easily this is going to change. Hi Mal, how are you doing? I'm doing some on-the-spot troubleshooting. Ah, yes, I think I can figure it out. So if I set this to 1920 here. And I set the max to 3839. Okay, that's got the X in the right spot. Now for the Y. That is... Oh, sweet. I just needed to set the X. This should now be looking in the correct spot. Yeah, okay. I think I've got that fixed. Here we are. Cool. So, while I'm working on the artwork... Whoopsies. Don't mind me just slip sliding around the place. But yeah, this is now looking at the tablet. Awesome. Well, good. Now I know how to do that on the fly. Probably going to use some Pomodoro method. Might even get the little old countdown going. That way I can track how fast we're going. Not how fast we're going. Wow. My English is not working at the moment. Oh yeah. Who's the new lad? What's the details? What's the deal? Thinking I'm going to use the line tool and then do smoothing later. Gives me a way to do pretty easy control, but also I can do like line thickening later. I've just been really into doing this method lately. a very head empty, hungry snake girl. Oh, I know this one. I know this one. A mate of mine really loves her as well. I recently watched perhaps the latest update. I would assume it's the latest update, but it was streamed in like a Discord I'm in. I love her design. Mostly I just love like where the snake motifs are worked in. I think it's so cute and very clever. Ah, yes, that's the hair I'm looking at. Okay, good. I'm also trying to make collarbones a little more pronounced at angles, and I'm figuring it out as I go. I saw one of her cutscenes. She was like sliding around like a fence or something, and I love the fact that they're just like the whole body contorts and can do that. I think that's just such a fun little animation choice. Either way, yeah, she's super cute. Oh my god. Oh. Going to be a dumb snake that gives yourself heat stroke from eating hot pot too quickly. Bless, what an adorable what an adorable snake. Cool. You know what? I think I will do all of the base and then just erase what I don't need once the hairlines are in, because I'm not too sure where the hair is gonna end up falling, purely because I will be tweaking what I've got here. This is kind of just like a vague direction. Oh yes, this lovely character is Syl. I'm just gonna double check I haven't misunderstood and the name is actually Sybil. I'm pretty sure the name is Syl. No, the name is Syl. Good. Okay, I have that correct. Jane Doe. Is Jane Doe the mouse girl I've seen a lot of art for? Question mark? Jane Doe's the mouse girl, right? The one that has like the danglies. Give me a second. Jane Doe's the one that has the danglies like that, right? And she like puts her hands in them and like holds her hands there. Yeah, mouse girl or rat. I wasn't sure. I think actually if you're, you know, rat proficient, if you're mouse girl aficionado, I think you would know the difference between like their ears and stuff like that, I think. I do not know. I have never kept rats. I love Dill's glasses as well. Basically anyone that has a unique glasses type, I'm like, yeah. Okay, queen. Oops. Really? Interesting. No distinction. I mean, I kind of get it insofar as like one's, you know, in an obtuse way, one is not even an obtuse way, just in a simple way. Mouse is small rat. Like I can see the logic there. I can see how we're getting to that conclusion. I can definitely hear that I need to tweak my ducking a little bit. Let me see if I can fix that. Where's the release? Let's make that a little longer, I think. Okay, so that should theoretically be a softer release. Yeah, we'll see how that goes, but I think that's a bit nicer on the ears. Yeah, alright. The wiki says rat, so rat she is. Either way, she also has a very fun design. I do enjoy the little handles she's got. I'm just very tickled by them. I think I'm gonna shrink down the top here and have this come in this way. Then I can have a little spill. Which is, some might say a bit much. I say very topical. Okay, and then if I bring this down. Her interrogation trailer activated a lot of people, especially since so much of her flirting seems to be with other women. Ooh. Is she, you know? Listen, it's a gacha game, so I'm not expecting anything canon, but is she, you know? I in watching some of the latest gameplay, I was also quite taken with the gosh, what would... I don't know this universe, so I don't know what's like viable in the universe, but she's kind of like a vampire lady. Either way, her design was really cute too. Yeah, we're gonna go with that, and we're gonna... That's fair. I think it's fair for fans to see the text at that point, you know what I mean? Well, we can't even call it text, that's the thing. Text might be giving too much credit. Very femme fatale vibes, which you wouldn't normally expect with a rat. Yeah, I appreciate that they're not relying on classic tropes, but that might also be a difference in cultural expectation of animals, because like, I think when most people in a Western context hear rat, they think like sniveling and duplicitous and like out for themselves type vibe. Okay, I am going to stop working on that for the moment because I cannot get the line to line. Yeah, Crystalline is probably one of my favorite tracks by The Midnight. I really love the saxophone in this one. I should do more studies. But that would require doing studies. Would be better for my art if I did it. Actually, I might be moving out of the Clip Studio ecosystem, which means I won't have a lot of the tools I have here. So I really should do studies and kind of figure out a new workflow. Let's see. We'll see, though. I mean, I am intending to move over to Linux. That is basically set in stone. The current timeline is that I will look at doing the full switchover around June. I have a second PC. Very fortunate to have a second PC that I can do a lot of testing on first. But that means I'm going to have to try to figure out, can I get Clip Studio to work with something like Wine? And if not, looks like I'm moving over to Krita. That said, Krita is a really, really good app. I'm not upset about it. I think the only thing I'll miss is a lot of the 3D asset resources for backgrounds because, oh my god, did it take so much guesswork out. Currently, I'm going super duper basic. I was looking between Zorin, Fedora, and Mint, and then looking into it, got kind of a bit more context on the background of who's behind each distro, and with the risk of age verification possibly coming into... Okay, so Cliff Notes. I'm testing on Mint because Mint is community run and managed rather than being by a specific entity or company. So as I understand it, they're not beholden to the same expectations and rules as like a company selling an application for money. So the anxiety I've seen, which I know might not be substantiated, but is a real anxiety, is that because of these kind of arbitrary laws coming in, trying to basically erode away at online privacy, there's an anxiety that companies selling Linux distros will have to incorporate some kind of age verification, right? And given that Fedora and Zorin are both sold by companies, or like you can purchase them that way. That said, I could be being overly simplistic about it. I've literally only started my research proper in like the past month. Totally, yeah, Mal. Like, this is the thing. I'm starting with Mint off the basis of it allowed me to very easily slim down my options for testing, right? But I'm not allergic to the idea of starting on something extremely well supported like Mint and then moving over to something more niche and specific. All roads lead to Arch and all that jazz. Or Arc. Oh god. Linux fans, don't kill me. I literally only started researching recently. Is it Arc? It's Arc, isn't it? Fuck. Oh, absolutely. That's probably the other thing I've really appreciated about in looking to change my ecosystem over is understanding that I'm swapping into an ecosystem that is run and managed by people and encouraged by folks to be quite participatory in those kinds of laws. It's kind of nice to be it's not kind of nice to be in the fight for online privacy on the side of online privacy, if you get what I mean. Oh, it's Arch. Okay. That's that YouTube delay for you. Okay, Arch. But yeah, all roads lead to Arch. I may even end up over there if I get comfortable enough, because I definitely see the appeal. I am just, you know, not a programmer, ... yet. At the very least, I've got so my workplace did an update to all their laptops and they sold off all the old ones real cheap. And so I've got that to currently test basic driving, but it's not got the same innards as my PC does. So it's kind of hard to test for things like DaVinci Resolve and Clip Studio Paint and Pro Tools and stuff like that. I'm probably going to have to opt out of Pro Tools and move over to something like Reaper, which I think more readily works on Linux, which is a little devastating because that license was not cheap. But if it's what I gotta do, it's what I gotta do. Yeah, I'll be honest, part of the reason why I was willing to look into Fedora and Zorin and Mint is because specifically I have an NVIDIA graphics card and I want to be able to have that graphics card talk with my applications, and I read pretty good things about compatibility between all three of those and NVIDIA. Oh, nice smell. Okay, so Pika or Pika? I assume Pika? Like Pikachu? Because that's the first thing I think when I read Pika OS. My first time actually hearing the OS specifically. Granted, you know, everything I say, take with a grain of salt. Literally just started. I can say definitively that, like, logging onto my laptop feels like such a universally different experience to my PC already, because I have long since been a hater about Windows encroaching advertisements and bullshit onto the login screen. Like, that personally gets my goat. And just opening up the laptop and just having it be login, I'm like, oh my god, where have you been? It feels like I haven't seen you since the 2010s. Oh, sweet. If it's Debian based, then it should actually work with a lot of the apps I'm trying to be compatible with, or like prioritizing compatibility with. I think generally I've read good things about getting DaVinci Resolve to work on anything Debian based. It requires effort because this is such a shame, because DaVinci Resolve actually has a Linux compatibility offered, but its base is not well maintained, and it clearly doesn't get a lot of their resources, which is a shame. Oh, for real, Mal. Just the idea of, like, not... Oh my god. What happened to 11 users? They, like, updated. They were force updated, and then it just, like, actively bricked the computers. Like, it is so wild to me that that is a thing that happened and did not have humongous ramifications. Mind you, I think we've gotten to the point of PC ownership where it's kind of like the internet. Everyone expects you to have a fast and stable internet connection, but it's not a public resource. I kind of feel like we've gotten to a point of just accepting the duopoly, that it feels like returning to the old world when you go over to something like Linux, but holy shit, is it crazy to feel actually excited about technology again. Oh, absolutely, Mal. So part of the reason why my move to Linux has been pushed to the time it has, like the timeline it has, is because I recently had my partner agree to move over to Linux with me. And so I'm not only looking for what system works best for me, but what system works for both of us, and we have slightly different application expectations. A lot of the Venn diagram is almost a circle. There's just a couple of periphery items. And so I'm taking the extra time to research what both of our workflows would look like. Thankfully, we both have NVIDIA cards, so that step's going to be a lot easier. But I like the fact that I have people in IRL circles also talking about the moment Steam releases an OS, they're jumping, or the moment there's more stability on, is it Proton OS? Is that what Steam's built on? The moment that's much more stable, the number of people I know who are like, well, I really only use things for gaming and for websites. And like sitting there and being like, yes, exactly. You don't need Windows or Mac to do those two things. You can just have Steam and a browser installed on Linux. needless to say, like, as much as it is a little daunting and a little scary, as all new things are, I'm having a lot of fun actually researching this and picking out the OS, and the fact that I have a second PC that I can do home labbing on and testing on before rolling it out onto my main and onto my partners. Very thrilled. We have, of course, made the joke that I am going to start Hormones the same time that we are moving to Linux, so I'm fulfilling the prophecy of being the trans in the household that also does the programming. Something something, there's only one flag we salute in this household, something something. Yes, okay, that makes a lot of sense, Mal, because I had heard Proton thrown around in the like wine conversation in terms of, oh, if you can't get it to work on wine, you could try on Proton. And I did initially get confused because I was like, Proton OS? Is it an OS? Okay, that makes sense. So it works within Proton as a layer. Got it. Yeah, she's wearing tights, so that would be there. Needless to say, I will 100% be providing the, hey, I've moved over to Linux. This is the toolkit I used. If you use what I do, good luck. Just because I know a couple people have done these. So you move into Linux. Here's my guide, and I think, speaking from the perspective of a creator that can move some of my applications over to not proprietary software, there's still just a couple things I'm going to need to rely on. I do agree with the general philosophy of, hey, once you move to Linux, you really should consider swapping everything out to open source. Mostly because I, again, just agree with the philosophy of open source software and think it's really bad. Oh, totally, yeah. That's another part of the move I gotta do is the, I've made the choice to test out... Oh my god, is it also called Proton? But not... Give me a second. Oh, it's totally called Proton. Okay, so I've made the choice to test out Proton's VPN password manager, and I'll be using their mail service soon, which I know can channel through Thunderbird, which I already use, so that'll be nice. But I'm seeing how that goes. Exactly. Yeah, that looks right. Damn, I cannot tell with shoes sometimes if they're doing what they're supposed to. Oh yeah, you also use it? That's wonderful. But I still want to give it some cuteness, so... I'm trialing it out because I'm not a huge fan of all eggs in one basket, but I am also still new to moving to Linux and switching up a bunch of these apps, and so I'm like, you know what? Let's do one thing at a time. If we can put our eggs in this basket for the next year or two and then diversify, wonderful. Good enough, you know what I mean? Oh, I know, Mal. How absolutely cringe is it? Oh, teehee, you use our email service? We're gonna scan everything you receive. I'm like, the fuck? Anyway, it's all that stuff and all the Windows nonsense that has me. I'm still on Windows 10, by the way, because I just absolutely refuse to update. And I know it's not going to be supported forever, obviously. So I am looking to swap. I'll probably swap my PC sooner than my partner's, but yeah. Like, I saw one look at Windows 11's UI and I was like, absolutely the fuck not. That was just a taste thing before all the news came out, to be clear. I'm not like some clairvoyant, although I don't think you need to be to know that Windows is really, really barking up the wrong tree with how it's investing its time and resources. Or actively choosing not to, since they're like, we can just vibe code our way into an operating system. Oh yeah, 500 gig is so good, and for the average user, that's really not gonna be any more than they need, you know? Can I tell you what I am so excited to set up? I need to prioritize doing all of our PCs first and all that jazz, of course. I am very much looking at doing a home server though, and I'm really, really excited at the prospect. I also trialed out Obsidian. Oh my god, Mel, I don't know if you've tried Obsidian. I'm kind of really into it. It could be because I've been playing around with NeoCities a lot lately, but moving to just a markdown format of writing and knowing, like, a big proponent of it was, hey, you know, if Obsidian disappeared tomorrow, you could still access all of your files. It's just text information with markdown, and you could open that up in Notepad and just remove the markdown if you wanted to. Love it. Love, love, love it. Yeah, I can see why. Like, hi Chaos, how are you doing? How was your stream? Or I think you were on Moa's stream, right? I hope you had a lovely, lovely time. Oh, actually, yeah, Mal, while you were here. There we go. Oh, I'm glad you guys had fun. It was Lethal Company, right? I couldn't jump in because I was going through a bunch of chores, but I did spy the little notification. Oh, he can stream Helldivers. Good for him. Ah. Amsel Suite. Is that like a web browser suite, Mel, or is it an application? I think genuinely Chaos. I think the moment they realized that they didn't have to do the old style of splitting resources across hard drives and instead like consolidated down, I think that's simplified a lot of it, because even reading just the basic news of them consolidating down their files, it sounded like in general testing everything loaded a lot faster. Yeah, exactly, Chaos. Which, like, I'm not a programmer, so I'm not going to comment on, like, the efficacy of that, and I understand they explained, hey, we were relying on old testing, blah, 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 blah. I'm still like, that's crazy, dude. That's so crazy. Ooh. Mel, do you mind sending me a link to that on Discord if you can? I would be so keen to look into something like that. Okay. So... Thank you, Mel. Yeah, Chaos. That's the thing. Like, reading their notes, they were like, we were relying on old information. We thought this was still best practice. And I'm like, it's crazy that you didn't test otherwise, though. But listen, they've improved it now. Better now than never. And if it has actually improved it that much, I wonder if I could probably stream it. I probably could. I know, Chaos. Perish the fucking thought that they might, for once, test something. Wow, really? That's massive. That's, like, actually unreal. I'm actually so chuffed that the chat box is working as well. Thank you, StreamerBot. I found out StreamerBot can work on Linux, Mal. I can't wait to test it. Yeah, that's the one thing I've heard about Obsidian, is that a lot of people tend to, past the open box of it, they tend to put on like a lot of add-ons to really tailor it to their experience. Very Linux coded, unsurprisingly. You know, it's like, here's the base tools, do whatever the hell you want with it now, make it yours. Yeah, I think this is coming out okay. What I might do is I might separate the lineup for the chair for simplicity. Okay, I hope Harley is fine with single line, or not single line, like single layer line art. I'm sure it'll be fine. Hell yeah. I think some folks said that there's now add-ons to be able to open PDFs in Obsidian as well, which also seems really freaking cool. I imagine for researchers that would be just so useful. Yeah, exactly, Mal, exactly. Super duper cool. For the moment, I'm trying to use it for script writing and some basic note-taking for the blorbos that have taken over my brain, which is the Starlight Senshi group that I did for my friends. Oh, actually, do not let me forget. In 9 minutes when the hour is up, I need to check the dough. I made a pizza dough and I gotta check that it's rising because it's really cold here today. And I might actually need to turn on the heater to get the room temperature to room temperature to actually get it to rise. Oh, I love that kind of compatibility. I love when sweets are just so what they're about. Like they know their target audience and they are tailoring it to that experience rather than trying to be a one-size-fits-all solution. Yeah, I could do that too, Chaos. I might. I think here's the anxiety. I'm worried that I'm going to leave it in the oven and just forget, whereas the heater, I can put it on a timer and it's generally going to be fine because dough can be fine for up to like 4 hours on the counter. But also, if I use the heater, then it heats up my office. There we go. I'm so glad I'm streaming this today. I, like, got some kind of rough news and was almost going to cancel. And then I was like, no, I really want to get this done. I want to send it to Harley. I want to trade line art so we can start coloring the other's work. And also, it's just really fun chatting with you guys today. I also have a commission to work on after this. We'll see how I go, but I'll probably get started on that off stream because I want to get the sketch approved before I start live streaming the process, you know? But also, yippee yippee yay! I have a commission. And it's a pretty big commission too. I was really chuffed about that. Girl, why are you doing that? I don't pretend to understand vector layers, but I wish I did. That's workable. That's fine. Okay, that's the chair done. Perhaps. Perhaps I could use a phone timer. Did I put my washing on? Yeah, no, I totally did. I did put a timer on for my washing. Yes, the timer is going. I definitely put my washing on. Oh, that's actually so sweet, Mal. The fact that they're that responsive, and the fact that you're like, hey, I need these icons to do this because I didn't set it up. And they were like, yeah, sure, no worries. Here you go. Actually very cool. I need to tweak another filter a little bit. Okay. That one. And then if I put... Yeah, no, that should be fine. Okay. Harley said this was Syl, S-Y-L. I do not know if Evelyn or not, but I have this very cool art. No worries, Chaos. Either way, yes, I am drawing Harley's character, to be clear. So we'll be trading line art, and then I'll be coloring the line art she did, and she'll be coloring the line art I do. specifically yoinked the fringe from this reference because I just loved the swoop of the piece of hair in the middle. I thought it was so cool. Haven't mirrored it exactly, but just the idea of having that swoop meet with the hair on the right side of her face, I was like, yes, yes, thank you, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna quickly... Oh, thank God. I was about to say, if I flip this and it looks horrendous, I will cry. But it's fine. Don't worry, everybody. Now it's about doing just enough lines so it looks like hair, but not so much that it looks busy and cluttered and crazy. Oh, totally, Mal. I think one of the things about adapting from something like a visual novel is that the language of TV and film generally relies on having a different tension release to most of the mediums, especially since you have like an episode length, right? And you want to maintain that intrigue or interest for the entire time. Oh, we are at break time, so you know what that means. Okay, good. I was really worried the rest of the body would not look correct from the flip, and it looks pretty good, actually. Thank goodness. And also pizza dough time. Thank you, Mal. Give me a second. I'm gonna go check on that. And y'all should stretch, and I will stretch as I walk over to my kitchen and check the pizza dough. Okay, good news. Pizza dough has started to rise. It is slow going though, so I am putting the heater on regardless. I can check it next break time, but I reckon it'll be ready to put away. Sorry about the microphone noise. I just had to move it so I could keep talking with y'all while I stretch. Exactly, Mal. I'm really excited for it because my partner had a slight tweak to the way we prep dough, and it's made it so much more bouncy and springy. So it's actually really, really nice to roll out, and it just makes, the best I could describe it is that it makes the dough taste fluffier, which I really like. I quite like that texture for my pizza dough. And tonight is my first night prepping it the way my partner does, and it looks like it's worked. All right, I'm gonna do some figure 4 stretches at my chair. You are more than welcome to join me if you would like. I think what I need to do is make a little listicle of the assets I want to do for stream, because I'm currently working on the end title card thing. I posted a work in progress on Blue Sky, but that's the one with like this model sitting at the bus stop, or like waiting at the bus stop. But after that one, I think I might work on my little stretch break videos, because I actually really like having guides on how to do easy stretches for yourself at home. Because part of it is just like, where do I start? Or what do I do? And sometimes even I would like the cheat sheet of like, oh, what are some good easy ones I can do? I've drawn a blank. Because I am doing a lot of drawing, I'm also doing some wrist stretches to keep everything nice and healthy. Nice. Actually, I am going to step away one more time. I am going to check how far away the laundry is. I have a timer, but because it's a washer-dryer combo, it does this very fun thing where it'll just change how long it takes before the cycle is over, because it has, I don't know the proper word for it, but it basically has like a wetness sensor where it's like, oh, these clothes won't be done in an hour. I'm going to add a half hour to the half. Damn. It has a sensor so it can tell, you know, oh, it needs longer for the clothes. And I do need to put some towels on, so I'm going to check that and then we'll get right back into drawing. Okay, back and ready to go. reckon we can get the line art done. Oops, sorry, microphone noise. Oh, Mal, I am so proud of myself. I was doing the M10S? 10? No, 11. I was doing the 3rd Savage raid for this tier, and I got to do some shot calling, and I got good feedback on my shot calling, and I'm very proud of myself because I kind of had to sub in very suddenly for another friend of ours who wasn't able to be on mic anymore. And so kind of just on the spot, I was like, yes, I know how to shot call this fight. Let's go. Oh, thank you, Mal. That's incredibly sweet of you. I really appreciate that. VGen has, I think very reasonably, a couple of criteria you have to meet before you're considered verified. Part of that criteria is a certain degree of money has to be pulled in, a certain number of comms have to be completed, and a certain number of followers have to be reached. So fingers crossed I can just organically kind of get that in the next couple of months, because I really would like to get verified on there. I don't mind it as the intermediary between myself and PayPal, to be frank. Oh, little Miss Ma'am, she's so active. Did you get your nail caught? No, she got it out. She's fine. Yeah, totally fair. And rating's not for everyone, and it certainly is a time investment, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. It was one of the like soft goals I had for myself, where it was like, I'm gonna get good enough at playing that I can be in a static. Okay, gotta think a little bit about where this hair is going, because I generally love how just like long and luscious it looks, but I did want to put it up in this little like half updo ponytail thing because I frankly wanted to show off the assets, so I do need to have some sense of flow with where this stuff is going.
It's a business which has tripled in size in just 3 years. Ron Hendren went out in the field to bring us this special report.
All over the country, armies of young people are blasting away at invaders from outer space and paying for the privilege.
Oh my god, I forgot this instrumental had dialogue and just got completely fucking jump scared by it. Let's what I'm gonna do is I am gonna find that track and I am gonna get rid of it because it totally threw me for a second. I really appreciate it, Mal. It's genuinely people sharing it and being like, hey, I got stuff from this artist. Here's their work. I like it. You should check them out if you want something like this. It makes the difference. I cannot stress enough. It really does. Like, so much of my personal philosophy of how to engage with art around me has been growing up and realizing that support and encouragement and all of those notes is what keeps artists alive in like an incredibly capitalist world. I'm also still so proud of the work I did on your model. Like, I genuinely think it's some of the best I've ever done. And I cannot stress, like, I cannot stress enough that seeing the work then turned into 3D has been, like, one of the biggest highlights for me ever as an artist. Just to be like, oh my god, I had a part in that, and oh my god, it looks so good. It actually brings a smile to me every single time I think about it. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. Thank you. I mean, at the end of the day, I really was aiming for, like, I want this to be a model that Mal really likes and enjoys getting to be an extension of them. I know, Mal. We are like two ships passing in the night and saluting each other as we go. It's like the comedy isn't lost on me either. I'm just like, nice. Politely slides one of my old pronouns across the table to you. Yeah, Chaos. It's something I was testing out because I don't want to have to keep rebalancing it while drawing, because sometimes I do need to go quiet to focus, and I wanted the music to kind of naturally slide back up and feel kind of natural. It still needs a little bit of tweaking, because sometimes if I take a short pause between talking, it kind of becomes really noticeable, but I'm liking where it's at the moment. If you'd like to know how to do this, I will share my settings with you. You don't need any new plugins, by the way. This is all with stuff just natively inside OBS Studio. Yeah, no worries. I am very, very eager to share basically any part of my process, so if you do ever see anything that you're like, oh, I'd like to know how to do that, always feel free to drop me a line. I'm more than happy to share. It basically goes for anyone that sees something I do. I'm not particularly beholden to, you know, this is my proprietary thing just because, like, it's not. I just learned how to use the tools like anyone else. So, when you say werewolf style setup, I'm assuming you're talking like a one night werewolf type, or are we talking like werewolf curse type setup? Yes, yes. Okay, one night werewolf. Yes. Social game, hidden role, that type deal. Yep, we're on the same page. Cool, cool.
Look, I know you miss her, man. But you can't keep doing this to yourself. She's moved on. Meanwhile, you're out there just walking the streets at night. Alone. In a river of darkness.
Interesting. Okay, so in like the context of the world, the other characters are trying to figure out who the Nocia is. Is it kind of like One Night Werewolf where there's a threat if you don't find the answer? Presumably so if it's set up like that social game. Or is it more so the audience is trying to figure it out? I see. I see. Okay. Yeah, I can see why in adapting to a TV show they would want to like switch up some of the events for tension and for pacing purposes and the like. That just makes total sense. That's really cool. I bet it also kind of keeps it fresh, so it's not like, as much as it's nice to have a faithful port, I think a truly faithful port, in my personal opinion, this is totally just subjective, I feel like a truly faithful port of something like this is when they just get the tone and recreate like the tone and themes. And even then, the themes don't have to be one-to-one, because sometimes when adaptation comes into the fold, there's been a change in time or a change in culture, and they may want to slightly like tweak it for the social context. I think so long as they're getting a lot of what made the original work, and they're replicating that feeling well, that to me is a good adaptation. Like, I have my thoughts on Sonic 3 that, you know, I personally have many very, very minuscule gripes with it, but in terms of how I felt watching that movie and how I felt playing Sonic Adventure 2, one and the same, totally captured the vibe, and I am so in love with that. Finally, a good video game adaptation. Oh yeah, like you gotta pick an MC for VN adaptations just for the sake of like, well, you don't have to if you can do ensemble cast very well. There is a way to make that work, but like classically, it's going to lean into having an MC because you need to have someone to guide the audience. Of course, you can't have the person who knows how a horror movie works in the horror movie, otherwise the horror movie wouldn't happen. Okay, we're gonna add some extra details. And then I think what I might do is I might do a duplication and then clean up some of the line art. But I have to also do this, not shawl. What's the word I want? It's not a scarf either. It's just the fabric strip. Totally get you, Mel. Which is interesting. Do they make it clear to the audience that the Nossi is not the same every time and it's just the MC who's figuring it out? Or do you think it's kind of intended for both to find out at the same time? Yeah, because that's what I was thinking, right? Is like that's one of the ways you do tension and release for people who haven't done the visual novel. That way they're also realizing that the chips change every time the poker table's set. Classic well-meaning MC. Ooh, okay. I do like when a show navigates making the main character understandable and reasonable in a lot of how they try to navigate a mystery like that. I definitely appreciate the kind of delicate balance you have to weave between not being too naive. Again, definitely a personal taste thing, but I find the gut punch hits a lot more if it's reasonable that they acted that way and they still potentially lose, or like the threat of losing is there. Because then you don't get the, well, actually, people in the crowd being like, if they had just done the not stupid thing, and it's like, do you hate fiction? Do you hate drama? That something had to go wrong for this to exist. I prefer when there's some level of logic to it, because then it's like, okay, even if I don't agree with that course of action, I get why you chose to do that because you thought it was the best option at the time. Oh, totally. That's so good. I like interpreting the main character as someone who does come into their own competency through the journey, kind of like the player would in that scenario. Again, it's like it's hitting the notes of like it gets the vibe of how the game adapts into fiction like this. Exactly, exactly. Oh my gosh, it's a bunny suit and I forgot the goddamn tail. So would you say it's fair to say, Mal, that they are like the precocious archetype? Like, yeah, you know about books, but like, damn, you can't hold a conversation to save your life. Chaos, please. Don't come for me. I noticed before I sent Harley the line art, okay? Please, please, my wig is barely staying on top of my head. You can't do this to me. Oop. My little timer went off. Okay. Good, 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 good. Okay. I do. I love them so much. I think they're peak character design. I'm just stupid. Yes, line art, line 8 was meant to be for the eyes. Let's keep that. Oh, nice. Like actual, okay, sorry, Mal, when you were saying like NB, I naively assumed this was kind of like a fun interpretation. I did not think about the fact that it would actually be canonical. I'm just so not used to it being canonical. So like actually acknowledged in fiction and exists in the world. That is super cool. Oh, that is so rad. I love when sci-fi universes actually have gender diversity. Like proper gender diversity. Like absolute bonus points if you just make some real fucking weirdos. You get what I mean? Like total off the wall weirdos. I love that. I love that shit. Chaos, no, this is a new one. So what I'm doing is often used in animation where you make everything 1 pixel wide, and then after the line art is done, you theoretically go in and do your flat colors because it's way easier to use the fill bucket tool, unlike crisp pixels like this. And then when you're done, you use a smoothing filter, and that's how you get the line art to blur that little bit into the color. Before I send this, I'm going to apply that filter for Harley, and I'll give both, but I have a sense that I mean, not to be too presumptive, but I see that Harley does a lot of traditional work, so I'm not sure what her typical workflow is for digital. So I'll give her the smoothed version, but I'll offer her the crisp pixel version as a like, hey, if you want to use this, go for it. Actually, let me see if I can find some art that I did with this, because it makes a lot of sense when you get the before and after. I'm just trying to think. What's something I did recently? Follow up. What's something I did recently that I haven't lost the layer to? Ooh, shaded. Interesting. Oh, do you mean like they use... Interesting. Do they use line width as part of their shading? Like, kind of like traditional inking, but with crisp lines? Okay, let me see. So this line art was done using the same methodology. All of these were... Wait, hold up. Yeah, there you go. You can see it a little bit. So this is the smoothed version where the pixels are blended a little more, and this is the crisp version. Yeah, if you can send it to me, Chaos, I'd love to see it. But yeah, that's how I've been doing art lately, and frankly, it has just made the blocking part of coloring so much faster. The gender is called pan, which obviously might confuse us Westerners. It has some associations with androgyny, some pan even getting the whole sexual kit removed and asexuality, but some bucket. Ooh. I love when this is like baked into the world. Again, if it's sci-fi, if it's not in our world as we know it, get freaky with it. Anyways, this is Themis. I love her. She has a huge chip on her shoulder and needs to prove that she's better than everyone in her family, and I love that about her. But we'll look at her later. Oh, damn. The most text it could possibly be, Mal. Hell yeah! I appreciate the show just being confronting about it. Not even confronting, but like, do you get what I mean? Like, just... What's the expression? No holds bars? Exactly. I know writers who use subtext, they're all cowards. Okay, no holds barred. There we go. I love this woman. Just like the instant vibe I got from her was just so totally in charge of everything. And then when I sent the sketch to Harley to be like, hey, you know, does this work for your character? Is this okay? I sent over like a version. You can see a little bit of scribbled dialogue up here, but part of the scribbled dialogue I was very proud of. Just the energy of like, oh no, you're mistaken. You bring me the drinks here. She's in a bunny suit, but she's not serving for you. She's just generally serving. Oh, sorry, Mal. That just had the same energy of like the Mean Girls scene where it's like, if you're from Africa, why are you white? It's like, you can't just go asking people why they're white. Like, the energy of like, wait, I thought you were a pan. It's like, bro, you can't just be saying that in the shower. Oh, nice. Yeah. The effort they went to animate a character with basically full body tattoos going on. Like, I get it. They're animators. They know what they're doing, obviously. But, like, that's effort. That's, like, extreme effort to make work in a 3D space. Oh, really, Mal? Well, then I'm glad they committed to it. Even better. That's interesting, Mal. I wonder why, like, okay, I understand on one level wanting to have the language be accessible insofar as like, hey, we're naming this is non-binary, this is what it is. But if it's a world building choice, I'm kind of surprised they didn't just like stick to it, because in that universe, that's what it is. I don't know, maybe this is a taste thing as well, but I don't know. I don't mind if it's got a different in-world name that suits the space it's coming from, you know what I mean? Ooh, okay, Chaos. Let me have a quick squeeze. Oh, yes. People who use the shape tool to draw are just magical. That is a skill I do not possess, but it is really cool. I have seen this before. Like I have seen some artists with this workflow. It is beyond me. I have recently created a pen that's meant to act kind of like a highlighter. And I am using that a little bit more with my posing so that I'm doing like thumbnail poses and then doing thumbnails before doing the sketch so that I can make sure I really like where it's going. This is really fucking cool though. I really, really like this style. But yeah, Mal, just like a bit weird. Definitely not saying you can't do it. It's just a way of doing it. I'm not sure if it's the way I would have done it. Because it just feels like a strange choice to remove that from the world building context it was in. Oh yes, I need to do the extras around the eyes. The little like beady stuff going on here. So I think it's little stars and then a big star and then a moon. Actually, how am I gonna do this? Because, like, doing stars is not fun. Oh, damn. I don't think I have any stars. Oh, thank goodness. Okay. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna get that. Is that too small? I think it is, so we're gonna just boop, make it a little bigger, reshape it again. Okay, I think I've got this to slightly work. Hello? Please? Hello? Oh, silly me. Lasso. Okay. Oh, okay. So they were able to recontextualize the scene for Yuri. That's a pretty good way to write it, actually. That way it doesn't feel so video game exposition dump. Not to accuse the game of doing that, the visual novel specifically of doing that. But you know what I mean? Where I think people's tolerances for that are just entirely different. Like the first thing you'll notice people say in a piece of TV or film, they will like right away be like, why are they explaining this to this person? They should know. You know what I mean? Whereas in a video game, I think there's just a lot more patience given for hand holding, especially if we're talking in anywhere close to like a tutorial zone. Whoops. Okay, I think that's the lines? Question mark? Oops. Chair? Where are you, chair? Come back. Okay, now we have cleanup. Oh, I'm sure this will go super smoothly and there will be no line problems. these folks in this situation, Mal? Is the Nausea just something that like infiltrates the ship in transit? Ooh, okay. I like the premise coming with a baked-in layer of distrust. You know what I mean? Like, if everyone's fleeing, their motives for doing so may vary wildly. But there is an equal amount of desperation amongst everyone to stay aboard and to see the travel through, you know? Very cool. Very, very cool. Ah, okay. All right. Question is, do I want to, you know what? I'm gonna rasterize. Can I just rasterize? Perfect. Can I? Hopefully this will work. No. Oh wait, no, it probably won't let me do it like that. It wants me to, yeah, it wants me to do it one at a time. Sure. Let's do this one at a time. Yeah, so right away we're seeing this impact. So I'm going to quickly explain this for anyone who does want to try using this methodology. Pros to it, you can do this with a mouse. Very, very handy if your tablet just completely shits it, or if you're possibly sketching and then importing into a digital software and you want your lines to be crisp. This totally works. But you do all your line art, you do all this line art, and then in Clip Studio Paint, you go into Filter, Blur, and Smoothing, and right away you'll see it starts doing this aliasing effect where it creates this kind of where it creates this kind of blur. Actually, let me change the color of that. Where it creates this kind of blur here. You can see all these grays and stuff like that if I were to paint underneath it. Oops, let's paint underneath. You'll see how those grays blend into the base color underneath. Creates less separation between your line art and the base colors. Ideally, if I were painting this piece, I would go through with my base colors and just fill bucket. Bam, bam, bam. See how easy that is? So straightforward and easy. Whoops. This is exactly what I was talking about sometimes you'll miss a pixel and you'll need to do a little extra cleanup for that. But look at that. And then you come in here, you do your smoothing, and it smooths it all out. Very nice. Super duper useful if you're fine with having thin lines for your artwork. Cons to this is that you have to have your resolution set before you start. If I were to move this to, let's say, from an A4 canvas to an A5 canvas and shrink it down, it would totally mess up all the lines, like completely. So there are some limitations to it, but very cool. Very cool that it works. I like this methodology at the moment. Also, Mal, that is an insane ante-up to just be like, hey, if someone becomes a Nausea, all of you are jettisoned. Being able to negotiate, hey, how about what if we just cold sleep them? Please. Go. I think, yeah, I got up to the cloth and now I'm up to eyes. Smooth glasses, smooth, yep, hair, oh yeah, I figure for something that's pulling on the hidden role premise, the threat has to be significant for them to be like, yep, nope, that's it, we're cooked. Okay. Alright, so I don't think this hair comes into this at all because it's in the background. Yep. That hair needs to be cleaned up. Now, the tail. I'm going to assume the cloth is behind that. Because we want to see that beautiful fluffy tail. Chair also gets cleaned up on here. Okay, now I actually don't want to lose a bunch of the details on the face, so I'm probably going to do this a little bit more selectively. I like to do this effect where if I am demonstrating that hair is in the way, I like to break up the pixels. So then you still see the shape going on, but it's like implied to be behind the hair. I'm also going to use now to kind of erase out the stars. Perfect. They should get a bit more of their shape now, so they can be colored in. Whoops. I promise I'll reach out in a second. I am very much focusing up on this one part. And then I'll be right there. Cool. So it kind of breaks up the line so it doesn't look as cluttered, and that way when you color in the hair color will come through and break up the line even more. And then when you're doing final touches, you can then add like highlight streaks through here over top of the line art layer to break it up even further and give more of an illusion of there being strands on strands on strands. The cloth goes behind the bunny tail, comes out the front here over the arm. It's all fine and dandy. Yeah, I think this line art is done. Kind of same here with the glass. I'm gonna also break this up a little. And what I might do is I might actually there we go. Same with this one. There we go. Et voila. Depth. Also gonna do a little... Ooh, what layer are you on? Did I do that wrong? Hold up. I did do this on the same layer. Okay. 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 Thank you for your patience. I know I was technically supposed to be on break, but come on. We were basically at the end there, so I just wanted to do a little final stretch. I will add her little lettering, but I'm going to leave the lines here, touch base with Harley, and ask if she would like anything else done. But I think that should be plenty. Okay, break time. What have I missed? Okay. Yes, Nausea can end life as we know it. So the extreme reaction is warranted. Oh, there's a more destructive roll. Sick. Okay. Is it nausea related? Or is it like additional pressure from an external force to shake things up? Oh, okay. So it is a third party. Okay. is specifically a roll that if it makes it to where one of the other sides would win, it wins instead, and neither Gnostian nor humans want that. Got it. Well, so thank you, Val. Thank you. What I might do is I might also provide a basic color chart, kind of like what inkers do, or like what artists do before they send things to inkers, to be like, hey, I want this to be solid, I want this to be that, I want this to be that. Less so to be a, you have to do it specifically this way, but rather as a explainer on like, hey, if I've confused you with all the lines going on here, this is hair, this is cloth, this is chair, this is bunny suit, da-da-da-da-da. I might offer that up as an option. Cool. Okay. Well, you know what that means. I'm gonna stand up, stretch my legs for a second. Yeah, exactly, Mel. It's here's my mindset. You know, here's what I was thinking when I put the lines to paper. Because I would hate to confuse someone just because, you know, they aren't me and they didn't draw it and they did not have the context of this was intended to be that. Especially since there are like additional cloth and hair layers going on as well. Oh my gosh, fellas, I have been doing... Let me see if I can... Close that. There we go. So, I have lately been doing this thing where, because as an artist, I shrimp over so much with my tablet as I'm drawing, as part of my stretches, I have to do this thing where I have to go straight back and then spread the arms and then dip the head back. And what it does is it gets like the shoulders. It gets like the shoulder part here. Gets like the upper back and shoulders get such an intense stretch. And it's really good, but also, god damn, it reminds me how much I shrimp. It's a really good stretch, but like, whew. At the same time, what I'm doing is not only am I like leaning back a little bit, the point is that you're twisting your shoulders and your pecs up to the sky and basically having that lift up as much as possible. So it's purposefully counter stretching in the most opposite direction to shrimping. My upper back health has gotten significantly better since I threw that into my rotation, but also, ouch. All right, I'm gonna go check some dough and I'm gonna stretch my legs. Y'all should consider getting some Wawa. Maybe a snack, stretching for yourselves. I'll literally be a couple minutes, if that. Okay. Good news. Dough looking very, very good. That has been re-rolled and is now chilling in the fridge for dinner. Or until dinner, which will be later. And I also remembered to put the towels on. Whoa! Look at us. Productive members of the household. We love to see it. I'll be honest, I kind of thought this was going to take a little longer. So I'm not sure if maybe I should just do some final line finessing. You know what? I will put in the basic color layout that I was thinking as a reference. Ah, fuck. Sorry about that. Actually, just give me a second. I'm gonna sneeze again. Okay, I'm alive, but barely. That single sneeze was not a single sneeze. Yeah, I've seen some artists that do like not the actual base colors, but are just like obvious color differences. Like they'll do some kind of whack, like muddy colors, but they'll make them like contrast to the bright colors, which are meant to be like, oh, this is skin tone, this is tights, this is hair, blah, 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 blah. Something like that. Let's get something like that down because honestly, it's not going to take much time to do at all. I was really trying to channel Bayonetta when I was drawing the hair a little bit. Not completely, just like, again, the vibes, the vibes. Oh, really, Mal? You did? I think just any kind of woman in charge with like the vaguely higher ponytail look can kind of evoke that, but also like, thank you. It was a deliberate evocation and I'm glad it worked. Oh, for real? They have space orcas? Okay, beluga whale, but still, we're talking, we are in fact talking sea creature ascended. Actually, yeah, with how much is going on in the front here, I think coloring this in will be a courtesy. Especially. Oh my god, actually so cute. I'm not sure what I was expecting, but that is a really, really cute design. I love the little prosthetic attachments that are, I presume, meant to be acting as hands, like little fingers. Okay, I have that on the right layer. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Boop, boop. Yeah, Mal, it makes sense for that to be the natural evolution, just to explain perhaps some level of interaction around the space and all that jazz. I appreciate them still not being what you would expect. You know what I mean? Ooh, okay. There is a level of like class that's mentioned in the story as well, with intellectualized animals being at the whims of researchers, the government entity funding the research. One character who could be charitably described as the fuckboy to end all fuckboys is at least an animal rights activist and brings this up. That's a nice bit of world building there. I mean, we've already got folks who recognize cephalopods and ravens and, or I suppose corvids is the correct term for that, as having intelligence higher than people would immediately assume. But even the concept of intellect is so very human-centric. Again, I appreciate on just a world building level that extra effort. Yeah, okay. If you're picking up your social cues from bonobos, that makes a lot of sense as to why you'd end up being the fuckboys to end all fuckboys. Okay, cool. We've got a basic color chart here and the line art as well. I think that's probably about as much as I can get up to, frankly. And we have been going for 3 hours, which I'm really chuffed about. I think I'm going to export this and send this off to Harley. I might be back on for a stream later. I may potentially do an editing stream. I'm just going to gauge it by how things go. For the moment, let's assume not. I'm going to try to be more proactive at posting before streams go live. Hell, I might even, if I get the graphic finished for it, do a little stream schedule. I would like to start streaming Final Fantasy again because even just for me, it's really handy to be able to come back and refer to the stream for what I can improve next time. But also, I just like doing this body doubling stuff. It's really, really helpful. Having some chill, no vocal style stuff going. Having a little chatter with folks here. Thank you very much, Mel, and for Chaos for being here especially, chatting. It's just very handy. It's very, very handy. Yeah, I will definitely be doing this again. At the very least, I can say, I think my partner's current work rotation is every third weekend they are home. So I try not to book streams then in case we want to go do dates or like catch up on stuff around the house, that sort of thing. So at the very least, I do want to start bringing in more editing and drawing streams because at the very least for editing, the actual play that I'm helping to edit. Ooh, actually, let me chill for a second. Just a moment. Actually, I think it's going to be easier for me to get this from my NeoCities. The first episode released for that, so I'm going to share that in chat in a second. Oh, I don't Chaos, but I should really set that up. I have to double check if that's only a Twitch integration, but I'm sure it's got to be a YouTube integration as well. Like, come on. YouTube's kind of a big guy, I hear, so like, maybe. But Roll With It is the first issue to Heroes Peak Villain Prevention Squad, which is the actual play, the Masks actual play I am helping to edit. I have actually got more episodes on the docket that I can start getting going now, so I want to get back to streaming that. And it's great because now when I do, I can be like, here's the art, here's the link, go check it out. Actually, I need to see if I can set up a what's it called, like a command with streamer bot. That would be really, really nice. But yeah, couple plans for the future. Hopefully we'll be able to throw in some games and some collabs and stuff like that, because all going well, other than the move to Linux, which will happen in June, all going well. Despite that third weekend rotation maybe throwing off the month, I should theoretically have at least one weekend for 3 weeks of the month for streaming. So yeah, I suppose I'll catch you all there. Until then, thanks again for stopping by. Feel free to check out the podcast if you'd like to. And I will be back with either drawing or editing another time. Thanks, everybody. I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.